everyone. I'm Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo, and I'm so glad to be here with y'all today. Hello, lovelies. It's been a while. I'm so glad to get to talk to you about this topic. And I want to give a really big thanks to the person that inspired this video. Sometimes when you work with energy and communication and self-care, the connections between all those things seem very obvious, but one of the questions that was brought up to me was, well, how do the elements of living affect communication, affect that self-care, affect your confidence? And so I'm going to go over a bit of an overview of the elements of living for y'all today so that you get a better sense of what it's about and how the framework of understanding them can be beneficial to you if you're interested in improving your communication, if you're interested in increasing your confidence. The thing is about the elements of living is that it came from the living and dying body process. So some of you have received a session of the living and dying body process, or have maybe seen some of my posts around it. But the elements of living actually are this beautiful framework where you can actually use it on its own or with the living and dying body process. You get to choose. It's basically this idea of the different ingredients that you can use to live with more presence, more clarity, and more ease. So that affects your communication. Think about it. If how you communicate with yourself, with your body, and with other people is one of those vital ingredients to you having more joy and more vitality in your life. Think about it. How you talk to yourself affects your confidence. How you talk to other people and how they respond back or not can also influence all of those things. So for each of us, we have different communication strengths. Many of us try to focus or choose to focus on where we feel we're lacking instead of where we are actually shining bright with our communication and with our different skills. And with the framework of the elements of living, you actually get to pivot back to what a gift that you have instead of eroding your confidence by looking at the things that are maybe challenging or where you are saying that you messed up in some way, which I'm not necessarily sure that's actually true, which we look at as well. What if we could use this framework of the elements of living to illuminate our communication strengths? Where are those skills that have maybe been asleep for a little bit, where we shut it down temporarily, that we could wake up again? That's the idea. That's why the class of the living and dying body process is called the awakening class. We are awakening these elements within us. We are acknowledging them and our powers with them. And so I'm going to go over very quickly the 9 different elements of living. When I say quickly, I mean quick, like a sentence or two for each of them. Feel free to just kind of let this flow through you. Don't feel like you have to remember all of this. The ones that are more relevant to you, that are like, hey, I need to look at that a little bit more, they're going to be very clear to you as I'm talking about them. So just be on the lookout for the ones that you're like, huh, and you kind of lean in a little bit more, okay? So the first one are the influencers. This is the first one that we look at. The influencers are really looking at how we as individuals are our biggest influencer. And you need to know how you're influencing yourself either toward or away from a life that you'd really like to have. Okay? The second one is the distractors. Now, many of you know I'm a speech language pathologist. I'm a learning behavioral specialist. I've worked with people with special abilities for about 18 years now. And I also work with a lot of people that have concerns about their attention, their regulation, their distractibility. And so one of the things I really love to do is I love to work with people in reframing what they've considered distractions and look at, well, what's the gift in it? What is your body trying to tell you with you looking over here or going to this activity during moments of stress, during moments of transition perhaps? What are you aware of? What is your body saying, hey, could you pay attention to this? That's where the distractors category of the elements of living play a role. Now, number 3, the door openers. The door openers are all about being able to navigate beginnings and endings with more ease. So how much easier would getting things done be if you could take that like first step, and then maybe the next first step and the next first step, because they're all first steps. And the next thing you know, you're like, I'm grooving, I'm going, I got some momentum here. Aha, 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 aha. So the door openers in a very general way is really about that. And then there's also other aspects of it as well. For each of these are just as little quick takeaways, but we can always go deeper. Number 4, the discoverers. The discoverers are about getting to know yourself, seeing yourself clearly, being on the journey of living with yourself and knowing what's true for you and what's maybe unseen, waiting to be revealed. What if you could actually discover more of what makes your life worth living and enjoy the ride a little bit more? All right, we've gone through 4 of them so far. Tell me in the chat, go ahead and comment which of these first 4 seem to be relevant to you. If the first one of the influencers is something that you're like, ooh, I like to learn more about that, put a number 1 in the comments. If it's about the distractors, put a number 2. If it's about the door openers, put a number 3. And if it's the discoverers, put a number 4. Maybe it's 1, 2. Maybe it's 1, 3. Maybe it's 3, 4. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh, I want to learn more. I want to know where y'all are at with this. I'm going to pause and check the chat a little bit here. And say hi if you're here. Hi, hi. Hello, hello. Thanks for being here. Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. All right, I'm going to continue. Number 5. Number 5 are the outlaws. The outlaws are where you could give yourself more credit than you have been, where you give yourself credit in particular about where you've been choosing a different path from family, from friends, from your coworkers, from what has been expected of you in some way. Where are you different or weird? Where are you a rebel? And what if you could acknowledge that without the judgment? So you could actually use that for your benefit in a conscious way. That's what the outlaws are all about. So if that's relevant to you and you want to look at that and acknowledge that, go ahead and put a number 5 in the comments. All right, number 6. Number 6 are the powers. It's really about so many different powers that we're not going to get into right now. It's probably the biggest category that has the most examples because our powers are truly infinite. And I had a really great time this past May talking about stepping into our powers in the taster class that I gave. And then we also had the Living and Dying Body Process class, the Awakening class in Stillwater, Minnesota, where we got to look at unlocking the powers from our bodies with the body process. And so with this one, the takeaway is really looking at, well, what are the energies? What are the people or the situations that make us feel powerful, that make us feel strong? Where are you awesome? Where are you shining bright? Okay? If you would like to know more about the powers that are unique to you, if you're like, I got this, I love my powers, celebrating them, let's go ahead and put a 6 in the comments. Okay? I'm going to check the comments. It's a little bit tricky to see here. Oh, I see some 5s. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. I love it. I love it. That's great. All right, awesome. All right, we're going to look at number 7. Number 7 is the worlds. These are the places and spaces that you can visit to get clear, to like reset, or to plan for your next steps. So they are blank canvases or playgrounds that you can use to catapult yourself into the next chapter of your life. I love, love, love the worlds. We used to call this category the landscapes in the worlds, and now we just make it a little bit shorter, easier to remember. But maybe some of y'all remember my previous videos where I was calling them the landscapes in the world. So just want to acknowledge it is that same group, okay? If that is relevant to you, maybe you know about Dreamland. You saw that Dreamland video, some of the other worlds. Go ahead and put a 7 in the comments. All right, last 2. We got 2 more left. If you're still here riding this ride with me, thank you so much. Go ahead and let me know I'm still here. Even if you're catching this as a replay later, go ahead and put hashtag replay in the comments so I know that you checked it out later. And number 8. Number 8 is the celebrants. It's about holiday, celebrate. Yeah, I always sing that song with it because that's what comes up. Thank you, Madonna, wherever you are in the world. So the celebrants are all about where you could celebrate more instead of focusing on what isn't working or what hasn't shown up yet. So what is the thing that you could actually acknowledge and celebrate more than you have been so far that maybe might invite those things that haven't shown up yet to show up faster, where you could be in gratitude? The celebrants make things a lot easier because it helps you handle changes and transitions in life with more grace, with more reverence and gratitude, which can be super, super nurturing to our bodies. When we actually embrace our inner celebrants, our bodies have a gentleness, they soften, in addition to having a lot more joy, which I don't know about you, but I feel like the world could use a lot more of that right now. And the last category. Oh, and if the celebrants are something that you'd like to lean into more, go ahead and put a number 8 in the chat, okay, in the comments. All right, and number 9 are the destroyers. This is one of the last categories that really came to mind as we were playing with the elements of living and the living and dying body process. The destroyers are really where we all need to be willing to destroy our limitation, our doubt, our fear, those patterns that we have been like looping on over and over again, having a hard time pulling out of. That's where the destroyers come in. If we're not willing to be a destroyer and embrace that aspect of ourselves, we can't actually destroy these things that are holding us back. So where have you been unwilling to destroy or end something until now that maybe you can start to choose? Okay? So if that's something that you'd like to learn more about, go ahead and put a number 9 in the comments. So this is an overview. This is very, very quick. I've done videos on one of the examples underneath each of these categories for like 30 minutes. But we're not going to do all that today. That's not for today. This is really to look at, wow, if I actually was willing to destroy my fear, how much better could I communicate? Maybe do public speaking, maybe write that book. How would that affect my confidence if I could have a voice in my relationships more effectively? What if I was willing to choose a different path than my friends and family? Like the outlaws. Would I be living the life that I'm living right now? Would I be choosing the communication style that I'm choosing, where it's maybe more passive or passive aggressive? What if I could move into that more assertive and clear communication? How would that influence my confidence? So each of these categories, with the questions I brought up, with the aspects of them that we've discussed today, really have so many different implications for our communication and for our confidence. And so I hope you enjoyed this overview of the elements of living. And I would love to invite you to join us to the What Are the Elements of Living live series that we're going to have starting next week, July 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern North America. And you can find the information at empoweringlightlanguage.com, my website, /elements, plural, elements of living, or on our Facebook event page. We're going to be starting on July 16th. That's a Tuesday. And we're going to have 5 calls where we dig in deep on each of these different elements of living so that we can have a framework to empower ourselves in building our communication and our confidence with our bodies, and if we'd like, with other people. You get to choose who you apply this framework to. But I hope you enjoyed our chat today. I see a bunch of 8s. I'm looking at the comments. Yay, you're coming to the class. Awesome. Oh, more of the celebrants. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about the celebrants. Yeah. And the world. And then number five. Number five is, I think, the outlaws, right? I have to refer to my notes because for me, they're all together. They're all here talking sometimes very loudly. No worries. It's okay if you joined a little bit later. It's here for you. I see it a couple of twos and fours. This is awesome. Thank you so much for letting me know where y'all are at and where we could lean into a little bit more. I'm going to be using this feedback from y'all to guide where we spend a little bit more time or less time in the live series that we start next week on the 16th. So this is really, really helpful. And I hope you enjoyed our live chat. I hope you join us next week. If you have any questions about anything I've mentioned today, go ahead and let me know. And enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Bye-bye.